everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and happy new year. This will be my very first video for this year and it will be a tutorial on how to make this beautiful hexagon jacket. I made this previously in this color. I posted a YouTube short of it, but then I thought why not just make a detailed tutorial. However, the tutorial, even though the pattern is very easy, it is just for intermediates. So if a beginner is able to follow it, please let me know in the comment section and let me know if you're able to replicate this pattern. So without further ado, let us get into it. For this tutorial, I'll be making use of this material. So the first thing here is the Yeye ball. I have it in black and this blue color, and it's a very thin acrylic yarn. I always work with Yeye, so for this video, instead of double strand, we'll be working with the single strands. And also I'll be using the 3mm crochet hook and tape measure. Also I'll be making use of scissors. So without further ado, let us get started. I said for this tutorial we'll be making use of the single strand because we want the jacket to be very light. So the very first thing we do is make a magic ring. In my previous videos I've shown how to make a magic ring, so I'm just going to do it one more time. You put the very short end of the yarn, the end of the yarn, in your palm, on your fingers like this. Then you wrap it around your middle and index finger. Can you see that? Then you make an X like this. Then you tuck it with your pinky. So can you see the X like this? There's no X at the back, but there's the X in front. So you stick your hook and you bring the yarn from the back like this. You remove your fingers and you hold the longer end of the yarn just like this, and you have made your magic ring. So in this magic ring, after bringing out our yarn, we're going to chain 2. That doesn't count as a stitch. And in this magic ring, we're going to make 3 double crochets. 2, 3. After that, we'll chain 2. 1, 2. Make another set of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2. Make another set of another cluster. We call this cluster 3 double crochets separated by 2 chains. 1, 2, like that. So we have to make this until we have 6 clusters of double crochet. I've made my 6 clusters, sorry, 6. Because I'm using the black yarn, it may be very hard to see, but let's count together. This is the very first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So we have 6 clusters of double crochet, and the only thing left to do now is to close this middle ring here. So what we are going to do now is we'll put this short end of our yarn to close up the hole in the middle, just like that. You see that hole starts to close like this. Can you see that? So after our last 3 double crochets cluster, we'll make 2 chains, and the next thing to close this round off is to slip stitch into this very first double crochet we made at the beginning of the row. So into that very first double crochet, we insert our hook and we slip stitch. Now a very simple thing we should know is we are making 2 chains. We are making 2 chains to create corners. Can you see that? We are creating corners with our 2 chains. Now for this pattern, every time we make 2 chains, we are creating a corner. So keep that at the back of your mind, that 2 chains is for when we want to make a corner. Now to continue this work for row 2, after slip stitching in the first, we also go into the second double crochet and we make another slip stitch. In the third one as well, we make a slip stitch until we get to the very first chain 2 space here, the very first chain 2 space that we have here. Then we make another slip stitch, then we chain 1, just like that. And then if your row starts to get bigger, don't worry, just pull the string and it will close back up. Now that we're in the chain 2 space, we're going to make another cluster, that is 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets like this. Then we chain 2 again and make another set of 3 double crochets. Just like this. Now after doing this cluster, we can see we've created our very first corner for the second row. Now the next thing is, since we're not making corners between this and this next one, we're going to chain 1. Chaining 1 is to connect the first corner to the second corner, right? So in this next chain 2 space, we're going to repeat the same thing, that is make 3 double crochets, chain 2, make another set of 3 double crochets, just like that. Can you see? Now we have 2 corners. We'll chain 1 to connect it to the third corner. We do a cluster of 3 double crochets, chain 2 because we are making a corner, make another 3 double crochets in that same chain 2 space. Now chain 1. So we repeat this all the way till we get to this very last corner, and we have to make sure we have 6 corners. I've made 3, remains 1, 2, 3. So I'll see you right back when I have my third corner done. Now I am in my last corner. I've chained 2 and I'm just going to put another cluster of 3 double crochets in that same stitch. This will make my 6th corner. To join up this row, I'll make a slip stitch to this very first double crochet here. So our very first double crochet we made, I'll make a slip stitch. Now we can see our corners clearly. Can you see? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yours too should also have 6 corners. Like that's what makes it a hexagon jacket after all. So 6 corners, and remember, chain 2 to make a corner, chain 1 to join the corners to one another, to connect the corners. So that chain 1 serves as an increase. The chain 1 serves as an increase. So previously we didn't have any spaces like this between the corners. Can you see? Now we have spaces right here that join the corners. So for our third row, just like we did for the second row, we will slip stitch in the second stitch as well, in the third stitch, and in the chain 2 space. Then we chain 1. Then we make clusters like this. We make our 3 double crochets in that chain 2 space. We chain 2, make 3 double crochets in the same chain 2 space like this. Now we'll chain 1, and in this chain 1 space we have underneath, we'll make a cluster. That will be our very first increase. We'll make a cluster, then we'll chain 1 because we want to connect it with this corner here. So we'll make our cluster in that chain 2 space, then we chain 2, and in the same chain 2 space we make another cluster. Now we chain 1 because we want to make our increase right here in the chain 1 space underneath. Can you see that? We'll make a cluster. Now we make a chain 1 to connect it to the next corner, where we'll make another corner. That is 3 double crochets, chain 2, in the same chain 2 space make 3 double crochets, then chain 1. Now we're going to repeat this all the way across. The next one is going to be a cluster, chain 1, then make a corner, then chain 1, just like this. You continue all the way to get to the last corner right here. Now I have made my last corner, as you can see, and you can also see that there's a chain 1 space underneath. So we're just going to have chained 1 here with my last corner, and in this chain 1 space underneath we're just going to make a single cluster like we've been doing for this row. After making that cluster, I'm going to chain 1 to connect it with this other corner here, our very first corner. So in this first stitch, like we always do, we make a slip stitch to join this row, to close up the row, just like that. And this is what our work looks like after the 3rd row. If your work is folding, no problem, this is how it should look like. A common mistake beginners make is to make this corner where they should make a single cluster. That is where they are supposed to put 2 chain stitches. They put 1 and move on to the next, so they mess up the corners and their work starts looking flat. They lose 1 corner. So one way to ensure that you don't lose a corner is always make sure you are putting it where always make sure you are putting your corners where there's a chain 2 stitch, that is right here. If you are losing your corners, you can as well mark it, so you can put stitch markers in every corner just to know where you're supposed to put your chain 2 space. Now moving on to the 4th row. Like the previous row, we slip stitch in the very first 3 stitches and into the chain 2 stitch as well. Then we chain 1, then we make our very first corner. Three double crochets, chain 2, then 3 double crochets. Then you chain 1. Now remember, in our previous row we only had one chain stitch, but now we have 2 spaces because we've made an increase. So there's a chain 1 here, there's a chain 1 here, and in both chain 1s you're going to make a cluster, that is 3 double crochets in that same chain stitch. Then you chain 1, then you make another 3 double crochets like this. Then you chain 1 again to connect it to this next corner right here. So you make your second corner, that is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Then you chain 1. After a corner is just chain 1. Before and after a corner is chain 1, but the corner itself is where you chain 2. So chain 1 and go into the next chain stitch, that is the single chain stitch here, and make your cluster. Chain 1, make your next cluster in the next chain stitch. Chain 1, then you make your corner. Then chain 1, then continue with this pattern until you get to the very last corner, and I'll meet you right back. And that's my very last corner, and I have made chain 1. And you see I have 2 chain 1 spaces down here, so I'm just going to make clusters in those spaces. Chain 1, then in the last space make my last cluster, just like that. And then chain 1, then in this very first stitch that we have right here, right there, we will make our slip stitch. So this is what our work looks like after the 5th row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, after the 4th row. So you can see we've not lost any corner. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is how yours too should also look like. And yeah, we're going to proceed to the 5th row now, like we've always done. We're going to slip stitch in the 2nd and 3rd stitches, and in the chain 2 stitch as well. Then we'll chain 1, then we'll make our very first corner. Basically just repeat what we did in the last row, in the previous row. Chain 2, make another cluster, chain 1. Now we had 2 clusters separating our corners, but right here we'll have 3 because we have 3 chain 1 spaces. Can you see? 1, 2, 3. So we're going to have 3. That is our increase. So we have 1, chain 1 to connect it, then we have 2, chain 1, then we have 3. So that is how we'll be increasing our work. Every chain 1 we make is an increase. Then we'll chain 1 to connect it to the corner, our second corner. We're going to chain, make 3 double crochets, chain 2, make another set of 3 double crochets. So basically just repeat this all around. Chain 1 after the cluster, after the corner, and before the corner, just like this. And I will meet you at the end of our row 5. But basically just repeat the row 4. If there's anything you don't understand, go back to the previous row and slow it down just to get it. And like I said, you can mark your corners. I'm not marking mine because I can see, but for the sake of beginners, you can mark your corners right here just to know where to put your chain to and your corners, just like that. And if your work is folding up, it's totally fine. It's not a perfect shape, so this is what we have right now. So continue this row and I'll meet you at the very end right here. This is our work after the 5th row. You can see it's just starting to make that fold, and it's totally fine. The shape, it's not a regular shape, so it's totally fine. It's not going to lay flat. If your work is laying flat, then there's a problem. So go back, check, count your corners and see if you have 3 clusters separating your corners. Can you see? This is a corner right here, this is another corner. We have 1, 2, 3 separating the corners. So for this 6th row, we'll just do it like we've been doing. There's really no difference. And we'll make, to join this row, we'll make a slip stitch in the very first double crochet. In the second one, also make a slip stitch. In the third one, make a slip stitch. In the chain 2 space, make a slip stitch, chain 1, just like that. So just make your corner, and in this in this 6th row, you're going to have 4 clusters. In this 6th row, you're going to have 4 clusters separating the corners, because we have 4 chain 1 spaces here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see that? And that is how we keep increasing. Each row increases by 1. So in the 5th corner, in the 5th row, we had 3 clusters. Now in the 6th row, we're going to have 6. Sorry, excuse me. In the 6th row, we are going to have 4 clusters, because in the 5th one we have 3 clusters, and the 4th one we had 2, and in the 3rd one we had 1. So in the 6th row we're going to have 4. So let's make that and I will show you. This is what I mean. I made my first corner. Can you see? This is my very first corner. Then I made 4 clusters in between before I made my second corner. So that is how the increase is going to go. Now in this second corner and 3rd corner, we're going to make 4, because we have 4 chain stitches in the middle, right? And so on like that until you get to the last. Do not miss any chain 1 stitch. Do not put chain 1 stitch where there's supposed to be chain 2. Don't mix this up. If you do, you lose a corner and the shape of your work. Now I'm sure you're wondering how this is going to turn into a jacket. Let me show you what our work looks like currently. So when we fold opposite sides together like this, the first and the last corner, when you put them together, this one and this one, you put it together like this, it starts to form an L shape. Can you see? So this is going to be our sleeve, and this is going to be the front panel and the second panel. So one thing I like about this pattern is you are making 2 panels at once. You don't have to make the front panel separately, you don't have to make this back panel separately. So the only thing is you make 2 of this, but we'll get there. So let's just continue making this row until we have 10 rows in total. So right now we're on the 6th row, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So keep making this on, just follow the pattern until you have 10 rows, and I will meet you right back. Alright, so I have my 10 rows here complete, and I am here to join the last cluster to the first corner. This is because I want to change my colors, and I will be showing you how to change colors as well. So let's measure this right now. Let's see what we have. So right now, this side that is meant to be the sleeve, this side measures about 3.5. Can you see? Obviously this part will also measure 3.5. So from here, that is the length of the jacket itself right now, is 7 inches. I'm using inches, not centimeters. So 7 inches and 3.5. So we are going to 10. This has to get to 10 inches, and this has to get to at least 15 inches. So if you don't want to change colors and you want a plain jacket, just continue making it until this side is at least 10 inches. So I am going to change my color now, and to do that I'm going to use this color, this other blue color. Alright, so I have this new yarn here, can you see, and I'm here to cut off this black yarn. So now to close up this row, like we always do, we slip stitch in the very first double crochet, right? Slip stitch in the very first double crochet, slip stitch in the second, slip stitch in the third. Now in the first one is where I am going to join my color. I'm going to put it in, and instead of bringing in this black yarn, I'm going to bring in this blue color. So I'll wrap it around my hook like this, not making it too long. I will hold it with my work here, can you see that? I'll hold it, then bring it out of that, chain 2 space, then slip stitch the blue yarn, then I'll chain 1, and that is how I will join my new color. So I'm just going to cut off this black yarn right here, just going to cut that off and continue working with my blue yarn. So I'm going to chain 1 again, and then make the cluster, the 3 double crochet. So you should be able to see better with this color. That's it. And then chain 2, and that same chain 2 space, make 3 double crochets. Can you see that? Now we'll chain 1, and as you can see, I'm working over this loose ends as well. So I'm putting it on top of my work, and then in this chain space I am going over it like this, and I will work my 3 double crochets. Just like this, then chain 1, and then just continue. I can cut off my yarn here or just weave it in later at the end of my work, but I'm just going to ignore it now since I can't work on top of it anymore. But if you can still work on top of yours, no problem. So I'm just going to make 3 double crochets right here, chain 1, continue, chain 1, so I'm just going to continue this pattern until I get to the other end here, and I'll be making 2 rows with this color. So when I'm about to start the next row, I will meet you right back at the end here. So I have gotten to the end of my work, and this is what it looks like. This is it. And between the very last corner and the first corner, between each corners, I have 9 clusters. That is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So 9 clusters. Now moving on to row 12. I'm going to slip stitch in this very first double crochet, slip stitch in the second one, slip stitch in the third one, and slip stitch in the chain 2 space, then chain 1. Then I'm just going to continue till I get right back here. I have completed my 12th row, and this is what it looks like right now. This is it. And after the second row of this color, I'm going to go back to my black. I'm going to go back to my black color. So I have chained one, then I will slip stitch in this very first double crochet here, like we normally do, slip stitch in the second double crochet as well, make a slip stitch in the third one as well, make a slip stitch. Now in this chain 2 space, I will insert my hook. Now this is where I join in my black yarn. I will bring in the black yarn just like this, slip stitch with the blue yarn, then chain 1, then tighten it, and I have joined my black yarn. So I'll chain 1 and cut this blue yarn off. So I'm going to continue working with this black yarn. Just going to work with it normally as we've been doing. So I'll make my very first corner. Now I'm going to make 6 small rows with this black yarn. I'll make 6 rows. We made 10 rows, then 2 rows. Now I'll make 6 rows. But if you are using just plain color, you're not changing color, it's fine. Just make sure that your side to side here, from where we started here to this end, can measure up to 10 inches. Right now I have it at 4.5. So I'm going all the way to 10 inches. So I will still change my colors, but for now I will make 6 rows with this black color, and I will see you when I'm done making it with this black color. Then I will switch to blue. So this is what we have right now after 26 rows, and I've made 3 color changes. I've made the color changes 3 times. I made 10 rows of black, 2 rows of the blue, then 6 rows of black, then 2 rows of the blue again, then 4 rows of the black, then 2 rows of the blue. So that makes it 26 rows. Now we're almost done. The next thing we need to do now is work on the bottom. Because I want it a bit longer, I'm going to add 4 rows of black with 2 more rows of blue and another row of black, just one last row of black. So this will be as long as 22 inches, and after that I'll come back and show you guys. So like I said, I will be adding more rows to the bottom, and where I will start from is where we usually start from, where we joined our last row off. So here, right here, can you see that? So just take this, and we're working on just these 2 corners, this corner and this corner right here. So we're just going to go back and forth on like rounds that we've been going. So let me show you guys. So I'm going to slip stitch in the second and in the third, then in this chain 1 space, right, I will add my black yarn. So I've already shown you how to add another color. So I'll add my black yarn, and I'm going to cut off this blue strand here. Then the next thing I'm just going to do is continue working the pattern. So in this chain 2 space, I'm going to make 1 double crochet instead of the cluster, right? Because we are not going in circles anymore. Just 1 double crochet, then chain 1, just 1 instead of 2 that we normally do. Just chain 1 and go into this next space here and make our cluster. just like that. And then chain 1. Just continue working the pattern like this. Another cluster, then chain 1, then into the next chain 1 space make another cluster. So we're just going to continue this until we get to the other corner right here. Alright, I have gotten to the last corner. This is what I have. From this first corner here, where we usually slip stitch, we made 1 double crochet in there, chain 1. Then we are at the next corner here. So normally we'll do a cluster and make a corner, 2 chain stitches, then make another cluster and keep working all the way around. But this time we'll just be making 1 double crochet like we did at the beginning, because this will be the bottom of our work. So I've already made my cluster here, so I'll make a chain 1 stitch and then go into this chain 2 space with just 1 double crochet like we did at the beginning of our work. So this will be our edge, the edge of one panel. This will be the edge of another panel. So the next thing we're going to do is chain 1, turn our work like this. Instead of working in circles, now we are working back and forth. After turning our work, in this very first double crochet here, we'll make our first double crochet in it, right? And then in this chain 1 space we'll make 2 double crochets. So that will make it 3 double crochets at the edge here. Can you see that? Then chain 1, and in the next chain 1 space make your cluster. That is 3 double crochets. So just keep working this chain 1, keep doing this pattern. There's really no much of a difference, so just keep making the clusters till you get to the very end here, and I'll meet you right back here. Alright, so I am at the end of this row. I've chained 1 already. So if you remember, in the previous one we did 2 in this chain 1 space, 2 double crochets, and in this double crochet right here we did our last double crochet. Really, you could just do your 3 double crochets in this chain 1 space, but because I want a straight edge, that is why I'm making my last double crochet in this previous double crochet. Now to continue, because we'll be working 4 rows of this black, to continue I'll chain 1, turn my work. Now after chaining 1 and turning, we're going to do our very first double crochet in this last one that we made here, because remember in this very first row we made 1 double crochet, so we're going to repeat that. 1 double crochet in this first, in the last double crochet that you made, right? Just like this, chain 1, and then continue making your clusters in the chain 1 space, just like this. Then chain 1, in the next chain 1 space make your cluster. Chain 1. So we're going to continue working this until we get to the very end of our row here. Alright, so I'm at the end of this row. I have made my last cluster and I'll chain 1. So remember what we did at the very beginning of this row? We started with a double crochet, so we're going to end with a double crochet in this last double crochet here. So I'm just going to put my hook in the last double crochet, and make a double crochet. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is chain 1, turn our work, because we're making 4 rows of black, so this is our last row of black. And like the second row, we started with a cluster of 3 double crochets. So the first one, like the third row, will go into this very first stitch here, right? Then the next 2 will go in the chain 1 space. So this is what it looks like. Chain 1 and continue making the pattern until you get to the last end, where you put 3 double crochets in that last place as well, in this last stitch. So 2 double crochets in this chain 1 space and 1 double crochet in the previous stitch. So this is what my work looks like right now. After we made the last blue row here, we added 4 rows of the black, 2 rows of blue, and 1 final row of black right here. Can you see that? And the next thing we're going to do is make single crochet just to create a clean edge. Single crochet in every stitch, including the chain stitch as well. So put single crochet in this double crochet, single crochet in this chain 1 hole, then single crochet in the 3 double crochets. Just single crochet all the way across until we get here, and then we cut off our yarn. Then we will join the shoulders. So let's do that. Let's make the single crochet and we'll join the shoulders together. All right, so this is what our work is looking like, and currently it measures 21, roughly 21 inches. Can you see that? So the next thing we're going to do now is to sew the very top part, this part of it, with my darning needle. Can you see? So you can use a normal needle, but because I have this and it's easier to use, I'm just going to thread it, although I'm not going to tie it off. See, this is the end here. I will not tie it, so I'm just going to sew from here all the way down to this side. So I'll sew that. Make sure you turn it inside out before sewing. So that is, this is our working side. This is the right side. We're just going to turn it like this to the wrong side, and we're going to sew from here to here. I have joined it here, and the next thing I'm going to do is turn it back right side facing us, right? So right side here. So we're almost done, and what we're going to do now is work the border of this side, right? We're going to start from this very end here, go all the way around and come back to this last end right here. We're going to start at this edge right here, the single crochet edge, where we finish our single crochet, and insert our yarn here, then chain 1. Right, so we're going to start the pattern here just like we did for this row, this additional row at the bottom. We're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 1 again, then we'll make 1 double crochet at the edge of that single crochet row, just like this, then chain 1. Then we're going to skip this next row, right? Then we're going to insert our hook in the blue row here, the very first row of blue color, and make a cluster. We'll make a cluster. Then we'll chain one again, skip the next blue row, and inside the black row we'll make our next cluster. Then chain one. Can you see what I'm doing? Chain one. After that, skip the next black row, and in the third black row make another cluster. Right, chain one. Now it's going to be easier here because we can easily see the pattern here. So in this corner, can you see this corner right here? We make our cluster. Chain one, go into the next chain space here, make another cluster. Right, chain one, go into the next chain space, make another cluster. Right, so we're going to continue making this all the way across till we get to this edge. So we'll go like this all the way down to this next edge right here. All right, so this is it. I have added another row to this edge here. Right, you can see we finished with blue, but I've added black. Now I stopped at this second panel at the back, and I've decided that this will be my back panel. Right, so what I'm going to do now is extend this back panel by 2 more rows. Right, so I will go from here, from this edge, can you see, to where we joined the shoulder right here. So I'll go twice. I'll add 2 more rows. The way we added this additional row at this bottom is where I'm going to add 2 more rows from here to here. So I ended with a double crochet. And the next thing I'm going to do is chain one, and obviously our next row is going to start with a cluster. So 1 in that first double crochet, right, 1 in the first double crochet, and the 2 in this chain 1 space, right, so like this. So chain 1 and continue working the pattern all the way to this shoulder part here, to this hole right here, and I'll meet you when I get there. Now I am at the end of the row. I've made my last stitch, so I'm just going to chain 1, right, then pull my yarn, then I will cut it. Right, that completes our panel. This is one panel of our jacket. So this is it. You can see that the back is slightly longer than the front, so this is what it looks like. So what you're going to do is make another panel that is very similar to this, another panel, and I've gone ahead to make mine. What I would suggest is make it simultaneously. As you're making this, make this as well, so you won't get tired while making this row or while making this jacket. So you can see that I've also added the extra 2 rows to this back, and okay, make sure you add it in a way that this back aligns with this back. Don't make this more here don't make this panel here. I don't know if that makes sense, because if you make the extra 2 rows on the front panel, it won't really tally with the other panel of your jacket, right? So make sure you make the 2 extra rows in a way that they both tally with each other, like this. Don't mismatch it. Yes, so always check your work with one another. That was why I said make it simultaneously. As you finish with one color change, you can work on this panel. The next thing we're going to do now is join this back together, right? Join the back panels together. So just like we did for the shoulders, we'll be sewing this with a running stitch. Nothing too serious, just in the back loops of each cluster and each chain stitch, just sewing them together. So this is the finished look, guys. You can see that our jacket came out beautiful, and yeah, I have cut off all my loose ends. If you want to use the lint roller, you can use the lint roller now. But yeah, this is the jacket right now. If you want it longer, just continue working on the bottom part before joining your panels together. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so I can post more videos, more tutorials like this. And if you have any questions or any requests, put them in the description box and I'll get right back to you. Thank you so much, guys, and see you in the next one. Bye.